live stream, just let me know.
Yeah.
All right, shall I start?
Wait. Yes, you can now. Yes.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this webinar on the final month NEET strategy. I'm Disha Agrawal. I'm a third year MBBS student at Maulana Azad Medical College, New Delhi. I got AIR 499 in NEET 2020, and I scored 683 out of 720. So I figured, be last month bacha for preparation. And to be honest, a lot can be accomplished in 1 month if you approach it properly. So my last month, I tried to make it as productive as possible because I felt, sabka thode regrets to hote, the last 3 months we did not study enough, or the last 4 months we did not study enough. So at least the last month we can really push ourselves because, see, once we're done with this exam and if we do well, all this, hassle, all this pain will kind of come to an end. So let's utilize whatever time we have as well as we can to maximize our score. Right? So this is the final month strategy for NEET. So I'll be sharing my experiences and ऐसे जरूरी नहीं है कि मैं जो भी बोलूँ वो हम सबको करना है. I will suggest कि you extract whatever you feel you can implement अपने daily schedule में and you incorporate that, into your daily practice. All right. So May 7 is approaching, right? हमारे पास अब finally एक बहुत massive deadline है. And it happens, it's very natural. If we don't have a deadline, we don't complete our work. So now that we have a deadline, we have a very set deadline. We need to finish all the work that's pending. Given we have dedicated so much of our time and so much of our energy to one exam, I can understand, if you're panicking or if you're really concerned. So I'd say, don't panic. There's no point panicking. Like panic ke chakkar mein, don't stop sleeping, don't stop eating properly, sleep well, eat well. One very important thing you have to do in the final few days of the preparation is putting all your documents together. ठीक है, instructions पढ़ लेना, admit card में होती है, and website पे भी होती है, what all stuff you're allowed to carry into the exam hall and what all you're not supposed to carry. The clothes that you have to wear. So I'll just tell you my experience. You have to wear really simple clothes, okay? Don't wear watches, don't wear anything fancy. Like a simple t-shirt and track pants or like a simple kurta will suffice. Because wo checking hoti hai, and you have to carry your admit card. You cannot forget your admit card. Sometimes they also ask for a postcard sized photograph of you. So make sure you have it. Of course, you're not allowed to carry any text, any material, any reading material inside the exam hall, obviously. So read all the instructions carefully, put your final day documents together, and just keep track of any updates from NTA. I'm sure NEET Prep also will keep updating all of you. क्या updates आ रहे हैं, but अपनी तरफ से just be very aware कि चल क्या रहा है, so you don't miss out on anything important. Right. So broadly, I'll tell you, I'll be discussing 4 strategies that you can implement for the final month and, see what all you can extract from it and what all you can implement. The first one, and the most important, which I think सबको implement करना चाहिए, is regular test solving, right? मुझसे कोई भी आके पूछता है, what is the best way to improve your marks? I say test solving. There is nothing that beats test solving because you get a real-time idea how you have to think fast, you have to mark correctly, you have to be doubly sure you're not marking the OMR correctly or you're not making calculation errors. So test solving helps you revise a lot of syllabus in a very short amount of time. 3 hours, if you're sitting for a full syllabus test, you'll end up trying to recall and revise so many topics, right? So मैंने तो test solving बहुत heavily rely किया था अपने marks increase करने. So in fact, that was a major difference for me between 11th and 12th. So 11th I used to score something like 540s, 570s. And then 12th में आते it increased to 670, 690, sometimes even 700s. So regular test solving is very important, especially in the final month. So we have roughly 4 weeks, right? Day is April 8th. इसलिए मैंने ऐसे time करके किया था, just like exactly a month before the exam. So we have roughly 4 weeks. The first 2 weeks, you have to see there are two options. Either you are done with the syllabus and you're very, very confident कि मेरा सब कुछ हो गया. There are no broad, massive weak topics. कि this मुझे rotation तो पूरा ही नहीं आता, या मुझे thermodynamics पूरा नहीं आता, मुझे ecology पूरा नहीं आता. Then, if you're confident, you know a little bit about everything and you'll be able to manage, you should solve a full syllabus test every 2-3 days. Okay, now according to me is not the time for part syllabus tests. हमें full syllabus tests attempt करने हैं, and I'm pretty sure whatever subscriptions you have, they will be having regular full syllabus tests. I know NEET Prep is having regular full syllabus tests every few days, so you must sit for them. The second one is when you feel that I still have a lot of huge weak topics. जैसे मुझे rotation, वही ऐसा मुझे ये topic बिल्कुल नहीं आता, मुझे laws of motion बिल्कुल नहीं आता, या मुझे electrostatics बिल्कुल भी नहीं आता. In which case, do not leave full syllabus tests, okay? Because they help you revise the syllabus in a very broad perspective. Okay? So keep solving at least a full syllabus test every week. But you can also do regular short tests, 50 mark tests, or 50 question tests, or 60 question tests, or even 30 question tests regularly of those weak topics. Like even within rotation, if you feel like my, let's say friction, like rolling friction is very weak, or moment of inertia is very weak, or law of parallax, whatever, moment of inertia type questions are very weak. So उस topic को उठा के you make tests and you perfect those topics, right? तो उसमें तो there's no limit. Do as many as you wish till you feel I am finally comfortable with this topic, right? And once you feel comfortable, once you've covered ऐसे सारे topics, then do the one full syllabus test every 2-3 weeks. So there's only for the first 2 weeks. Week 3 and 4, there is no option but daily full syllabus tests. Okay? So you can take the next 2 weeks to work on any weak topics you have. Take it as a deadline. इसके बाद I have no time for weak topic revision. For targeted specific broad weak topic revision. इसके बाद सिर्फ daily full syllabus tests है. छोटे मोटे बीच में डाल सकते हो अपनी satisfaction के लिए besides the daily full syllabus test. लेकिन हर रोज एक test करना ही है. Right? We need the question practice. And of course, you have to analyze. Again, analysis, you can either spend 2-3 घंटे एक टेस्ट को analyze कर रहे हैं because हमें पता नहीं हमारी weak topics कौन से हैं. The second way is कि हमें roughly पता है हमारे weak topics क्या क्या हैं and हमें पता है हमें क्या क्या revise करना है, but हम analysis ऐसे कर रहे हैं कि we just see जो हमारे गलत questions हुए उनका answer क्या है, right? तो वो भी देखना होता है. So if you do the second one, that you just see कि मेरे क्या क्या सही हुए, सही में भी तुक्के से ठीक हुए या फिर genuinely सही हुए. जो तुक्के से ठीक हुए, again you'll have to see कि उसमें exactly concept क्या था, why were you confused and what is the actual solution. And जो गलत हो गए या फिर the one that you had no idea about, you have to see what was the solution. You have to try and think again कि how could you have solved it differently. So that is how you'll analyze something. If you already know कि weak topics क्या क्या है, अगर पता नहीं कि weak topics क्या है, पता नहीं चल रहा, you feel कि मेरा सब कुछ strong है and you're looking for new weaknesses to practice, then you analyze it very carefully. कि मेरे इस topic से broadly 3-4 questions गलत हुए, बाकी सारे topic से 1-2 गलत है, so I should work on the one जिसमें मेरे 3-4 गलत हुए थे first. Right? So this is strategy number 1. It is the most important, and ये I think everybody should implement. And to be honest, there's no limit to test solving. मैंने बस एक minimum number तुम्हारे लिए set कर दिया है, ठीक है? इसके beyond feel free. You can do as many as you want, but I will suggest दिन में 2 से ज़्यादा मत करना because it's very tiring mentally. It takes a lot of energy to sit for 3 hours 20 minutes. Now in your case, so you can solve 2 a day, but try to restrict yourself to max 2 a day. Short tests you can do as many as you want. There's no limit. बट देन अगेन शॉर्ट टेस्ट भी तब करना जब हमने थियोरी एक बार पढ़ ली है. अगर हमें थियोरी नहीं पता देन क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने का कोई पॉइंट नहीं है, राइट? सो मेक श्योर कि उस टॉपिक की थियोरी यू कवर्ड and now you're just practicing questions once you've revised the theory. So strategy 1 is over. Strategy number 2, targeted revision. I had a very, very detailed video on this. It's available on YouTube if you wish to watch. Briefly, I'll tell you. So, you solve a test, preferably full syllabus now. You identify weak topics. How do you do it? You analyze the test, or you just have a gut feeling. Accumulated मेरे 5-6 tests में ऐसे weak topics आए थे roughly, and these are my weak topics. You revise the topic, NCERT notes, modules, MCQs. Once you've read the theory, no new books, please. This is the only important thing I want to tell you. No more new books. There is no time and there is no scope for new books. Note down important points you missed and add new formula to your formula sheet. This is very simple. I have discussed it so many times, and I'm sure all of you are sick of hearing this again and again. But it's important, right? So I have to mention. The next one, right? Strategy number 3. Very, very important again. Create rapid revision materials. Because the syllabus is very, very vast. बहुत कुछ है पढ़ने को. Inorganic is so bulky. Bio is also pretty bulky. And physics, maybe there's a lot of formulas that you have to know and a lot of shortcuts to that help you solve questions jaldi. So you should have short notes. You should have summaries. Short notes are very nice for inorganic and for biology. Summaries are very good. Again, summaries can also be like formula sheets. Like a summary of a physics chapter is a formula sheet, and a summary of an inorganic chapter can be short notes, right? Something like that, right? One very important thing is I know NCERT biology को change by काफी time हो गया. They had a lot of new updates. It happened around 2020 when I was in class 12. So if you don't have the updated NCERT, you should already have it. But if you don't, please look at the PDF of updated diagrams. I'll give you my personal experience later, but you should have a PDF of the updated diagram, and you should be familiar with every single label on every single diagram. मतलब एक I remember renal function जो human physiology वाला unit है, there is a diagram in which they have shown the afferent arteriole and the efferent arteriole, and one of the arterioles is broader than the other, right? तो वो जब तुम देखोगे diagram, मतलब it will not occur to you कि दोनों का dimension different है, but you have to observe इतने छोटे छोटे details कि इसका afferent, इसका ये वाला arteriole is broader than the other one, right? So that should be the degree of familiarity with the diagram. मतलब बिल्कुल पता होना चाहिए. Because sometimes the labels now, they don't make a lot of sense, and print quality can be really bad. I'm not kidding. Black and white diagrams होते हैं and the print quality can be absolutely horrible. So you should know इस position पे NCERT का एक diagram है, इस position पे ये label है, इस position पे label है, because sometimes ना the arrows that they make, they don't make sense. So you have to be that familiar. So PDF updated diagram जरूर देखना on mind maps. Like I know कि you've been provided with physics mind maps at least. तो वो तो जरूर revise कर लेना, right? You have to keep updating your rapid revision materials as you solve tests. It has to be dynamic, right? You solve a test, you learn new stuff, you add it to what you already have. ताकि end तक आते आते you have a very comprehensive summary और a very comprehensive short notes कि तुम्हें और कुछ पढ़ने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी. तो मेरे इनऑर्गेनिक नोट्स ऐसे थे. मैंने ये एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल दिया है because this is the picture that I could find. बाकी सारे I don't know where my material is. So this is a short summary of ammonia. Ammonia as a chemical compound. तो उसकी production is on one side. सारा NCERT से extracted है mostly. Reactions are on the other side. And if test में there was a new reaction that I learned, or there was something that I didn't know, so I added it, right? So this is what I wanted to discuss here. If I remember correctly, see, this thing is not there in the NCERT. ये लेकिन tests में बहुत frequently आता था, so I added it. कि I should not miss it the next time I see it. And people ask, it's a very very common question कि जब test होने वाला है, how do I revise for it? Like, do I solve MCQs? Do I read theory? What do I do? Because itna sara syllabus you cannot revise just right before an exam or right before a mock test. So you should rely on the rapid revision materials right before a mock test. It is that simple. तुम अब बाकी टाइम में जो जितना पढ़ना चाहो, जो पढ़ना चाहो पढ़ो. You have to modify it as per your requirements, as per your perception. मुझे क्या क्या पढ़ना है, क्या क्या मेरा वीक है, क्या क्या मेरा रह गया है अभी. But before a test, you should just stick to theory. Do not sit and solve MCQs before a test, because test solve करने का point ही है कि हमें MCQs मिलेंगे solve करने के लिए in a timed fashion, right? तो MCQs नहीं करने हैं test के पहले. Rapid revision materials को go through कर लेना. अगर लगे कि ऐसा एक टॉपिक है जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट आज आने वाला है, जो मुझे बिल्कुल नहीं पता, फिर तुम उसको ओरिजिनल सोर्स से पढ़ सकते हो. दैट्स ओके. जैसे if there is one chapter in biology, for example, अगर मेरे लिए आई गिव यू मेरा एग्जांपल. अगर किसी टेस्ट में कॉकरोच आ रहा हो एंड आई नो कि मुझे भाई बिल्कुल भी नहीं आता, आई डोंट लाइक दैट टॉपिक, मुझे बिल्कुल भी नहीं आता, मैंने उसके नोट्स अच्छे से नहीं बनाए हुए, तो आई विल रीड द एनसीईआरटी बिफोर द टेस्ट. बट फॉर एवरीथिंग एल्स, stuff that you have already read and stuff that you're confident with, read only your rapid revision materials, because it will give you the important mota points that will help you during the exam. And one more thing, when you're reading something, I realized this over over a few interactions with people, कि when you're reading something na, read it with great concentration. Like even now in MBBS, अगर मैं एक बुक लेके बैठूं and I try to read it जल्दी जल्दी, um, I will not remember anything later, right? So if it's taking a little extra time, give it that extra time, but read it properly, कि एक बार पढ़ लिया अब हमें से बार बार नहीं पढ़ना पड़ेगा. So that being said, I'll give you my personal experience. So I did something that somebody may consider risky, but it worked very very well for me, and this just highlights कि rapid revision materials कितने important होते हैं. The day of the exam, the morning of the exam, I was very stressed. एंड मैंने अपने सारे इनऑर्गेनिक नोट्स पढ़ लिए. मैंने मेटलर्जी टॉपिक भी पूरा चैप्टर मैंने पूरा फिर से पढ़ लिया. लाइक इवन इन द कार व्हेन आई वाज गोइंग टू द सेंटर, आई वाज रीडिंग मेटलर्जी, एंड आई एम नॉट किडिंग, आई गॉट 5-6 क्वेश्चंस स्ट्रेट फ्रॉम व्हाट आई रेड मेटलर्जी में सुबह सुबह. मतलब बिल्कुल एनसीईआरटी के सेंटेंसेस थे, एंड अगर मैंने वो चैप्टर ना पढ़ा होता फिर से सुबह, मेरा पक्का गलत हो जाना था. That is how important it is कि you keep revising your notes again and again, because inorganic is very vast, it's very bulky, and बहुत short term memory type चीज है. You read it and you forget. I can understand it was a problem for me too. तो इसलिए because I knew कि it's a problem for me and मुझे नहीं याद होगा, मुझे पक्का याद नहीं होगा, मैंने सुबह बैठ के सारे इनऑर्गेनिक नोट्स पढ़े थे. मुझे मेटलर्जी स्पेसिफिकली बहुत गंदा लगता था, because there are so many temperatures, so many pressures and so many things happening, and they're very similar. कहीं पे SO3 होगा, कहीं पे SO2 होगा, and you have to remember कि कौन सी चीज कहाँ पर है, right? तो इसलिए I read all of it in the morning again. I don't recommend it, but it's the truth and it helped, right? So ऐसा I will not say कि ऐसा कोई limitation है कि last day कुछ नहीं पढ़ना या फिर एक दिन पहले कुछ नहीं पढ़ना. You just have to do what you feel is right for you. मतलब it is pretty simple. Everybody has an opinion कि last day कुछ नहीं करना चाहिए, last day सिर्फ chill करो, last day सिर्फ बैठ के movie देखो, आइसक्रीम खाओ. I could not, because I am not that kind of a person जो बिल्कुल आराम से chill करके बैठ सकती है. तो इसलिए मैंने पूरा पढ़ लिया था. And one more very important thing, which is why I said कि PDF of updated diagrams. I had the old NCERT, तो मुझे ना PDF मिल गई थी updated diagrams की कहीं से. I went through all of it the day before the exam, and I got direct questions. Electron transport chain का ना diagram change हुआ था, and I got a direct question कि flow of electrons का order बताओ on the basis of the diagram. जो अपडेटेड एनसीईआरटी में था, जो ओल्ड एनसीईआरटी में नहीं था. So this is why it's very important. So if there are droppers who have still been referring to the old NCERT, if there is anybody who has not changed the NCERT yet, please go through the updated diagrams. It is extremely important. Right. So the last strategy, this one is plus minus. You may try. I did it. It helped me because मुझे लगता था कि इस तरह से मैं तगड़ी रिविजन हो रही है. So I used to pick a unit. So what do I mean by chunks? Chunks is like you take a broad unit and you revise it, because individual topics से I felt comfortable. Now it was just a question कि मुझे भूलना नहीं है जो मैंने already पढ़ा हुआ है. And once you're confident now with topics, then you can start reading jaldi, right? Just to get an overview कि ये words हैं, ये diagrams हैं, ये formulas हैं, इस तरह का graph यहाँ पे बना हुआ है, graph की ये labeling है. So I used to revise all theory in one go of a unit. So for physics, जैसे मुझे इलेक्ट्रोस्टैटिक्स डिवाइस करना है, मैंने उसके बहुत अच्छे फॉर्मूला शीट्स बनाए हुए थे, which were very comprehensive. एंड मैंने उसमें तरह तरह के शॉर्टकट्स डाले हुए थे, इंपॉर्टेंट थ्योरी पॉइंट्स डाले हुए थे, ग्राफ्स डाले हुए थे. जैसे कंडक्टिविटी का ग्राफ है एनसीईआरटी में, 3 ग्राफ्स, एंड उसमें से डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन आता है. बाय द वे मेरे नीट 2020 में आया था. तो आई वुड पिक अ यूनिट एंड आई वुड रीड ऑल द फॉर्मूला एंड ट्रिक्स एंड आई वुड कॉल इट अ डे. हो गई मेरी रिविजन. Then there are factual units like magnetism and matter, EM waves, semiconductors. उनके लिए I had notes. I had made NCERT के notes, very detailed notes. जो important points हैं, जो important examples हैं, and वो मैं पढ़ लेती थी and मेरा खत्म हो जाता था. So it was that simple. So you can try. Chemistry में, for physical chemistry again I had formula sheets. And for inorganic and organic chemistry, I refer to notes. Inorganic के लिए I had very nice, completely NCERT based notes, जिसकी मैंने एक picture अभी previous slides में लगाई थी. And organic chemistry के लिए I had my class notes. They were very detailed. To be very honest, my organic chemistry notes were extremely detailed. But I used to filter out क्या क्या important है. And अपनी तरफ से ना मैंने बहुत सारे unnecessary reactions भी याद किए हुए थे, जो मुझे केवीपी में हेल्प किए, जेई मेंस में हेल्प किए. But NEET में they didn't help so much because NEET was mostly NCERT based. But my experience, I'm telling you, मेरे पास ये था, मैंने पढ़ लिया था because मुझे और कोई option नहीं दिखा था. But I think you should, if your notes are more NCERT based, just read your NCERT based notes. Read your NCERT. Solve organic के back questions. They're very good. And उसमें से सीधा questions आ सकते हैं. Then bio के लिए, I had the NCERT. I would pick up a unit and I would go through everything that I had highlighted. I had highlighted a lot of important words. जैसे NTNO, it picks up lines from the paragraph and it makes a question out of the lines. And if you don't know कि वो sentence आया कहाँ से है, you will also have a struggle, getting to the right answer. So I would pick up a unit, जैसे मैंने human physiology pick up कर लिया, and I would flip through the pages and just see मैंने क्या क्या highlight किया हुआ है. If there's an important sentence that I've highlighted, assertion reason के लिए this is very important. अगर कहीं पे because, as, since, therefore है, तो उसको तो बिल्कुल ध्यान से पढ़ो because उसका assertion reason बन सकता है. And they may change a word somewhere. And if you're not familiar, you will not get to the right answer. है ना? So you can do that. And PDF of updated diagrams, or if you have the new NCERT, then just read the new NCERT, go through all the diagrams in great detail. And it took me around 3 hours on average per unit because मैं honestly बहुत जल्दी पढ़ रही थी. But if you are not comfortable with any chapter or any portion in between, it can take more, and that is fine, right? If it is taking time, give it that extra time. But ऐसे पढ़ना है कि हमें बाद में जाके उसे बार-बार नहीं पढ़ना पड़े. If you're reading it once, you read it properly, right? That is the only padna. So these are the 4 strategies. Enough with the boring lecture. It is time for questions. So I will stop sharing my screen and you can ask me questions. एक एक करके. So I will ask people who are attending the webinar to ask me their questions first. You can unmute and ask. Or if you have some connectivity problems, feel free to use the chat box. I will prefer if you unmute and ask. Siddharth, Astha, Ashish, Vinay, anything? Do we have questions from YouTube? All right. Right. So Priya is asking, Now I am in class 12, and there is a huge, terrible backlog in 11th syllabus, physics, chemistry, and bio, most of the chapters. What should I do? I have a doubt. Did you just start with class 12 or अभी class 12 खत्म हो गया है? I'm assuming you've just started class 12. So I'll tell you, I was in the exact same situation because मेरे 11th के बहुत ज़्यादा backlogs हो गए थे. मैंने 11th में ढंग से बिल्कुल भी नहीं पढ़ा था. Very, very honestly. Um, what I used to do was I decided कि 12th में I have to sit and I have to, get rid of the backlog. So I used to devote 2-3 hours on average every day to revise class 11. So I bought the right books. I bought MCQ books for class 11. And हर रोज या फिर जब भी मुझे कोई वीकेंड मिलता था कभी कोई हॉलिडे मिलती थी स्कूल से and I also took a lot of leaves from school. तो बैठ के 2-3 hours every day I would sit and revise and solve questions of class 11. And मेरे simultaneously ना 11th का revision series start हो गया था tests का. So I had 11th revision tests ongoing, like, in class 12. So uske hisab se I would revise. So, it's the same thing. You read, you make a summary, you make a formula sheets, and you keep revising them again and again, and you solve. So, the crux of the story is you take out a few hours every 2-3 days, or जब भी कोई holiday मिले तो 5-6 hours, and just focus and try to complete the backlog of class 11. That is the only way. Some people say कि हमें 11th end में आके करना है, but I knew कि मुझे ऐसे नहीं करना because फिर मेरी 11th वैसे थोड़ी weak थी. So I did it simultaneously with class 12. I hope that answers your question. Any other questions? At least how many full syllabus tests we should solve? Okay, so I said 2-3 weeks may every 2-3 days you should solve a question. So the first 2 weeks every 2-3 days. So that gives you around 5-6 tests in the first 2 weeks, right? And the last 2 weeks you have to do one every day. So 14 plus around 20. So around 20 full syllabus tests you must solve. 20 भी लगा बहुत लगा तो at least 15 तो कर ही लेना, because you need the practice, you need the OMR practice. And I've seen a problem कि from my experience, people who have been solving tests online, they find it hard to adapt to offline tests. That is a problem. So I will also suggest, तुमने online test तो दे दिया जैसे दिया था, but तुम simultaneously try to mark an OMR also. Or if you get a PDF of a test, mark an OMR along with it. I did not mention this in my slides, but you should get OMR practice now. It is extremely important because OMR marking में अगर mistake हुई ना, that is the worst kind of mistake that can happen. First 2 weeks, like from 9th April, yeah, you can have tomorrow onwards. You have around 4 weeks, no? Sunday को होगा. You have actually exactly 4 weeks. So 9th April plus 14 days, so 23rd तक, you solve one full syllabus test every 2-3 days, assuming there are no broad weak topics that you want to work on. अगर ऐसा कुछ है कि there are weak topics that you want to work on, जैसे कोई बहुत ही major chapter है जो अभी weak है, जो अभी हमें fix करना है, तो उसके लिए you do your short tests, you do your theory revision, and उस चक्कर में उस case में you can do one full syllabus test a week. But I would recommend, my personal recommendation would be कि you solve full syllabus test every 2-3 days and short tests बीच में अपने करते रहो अगर कोई weak topic लगे. I hope that solves it. So Vishwesh is asking, bio में 290 के around marks आ रहे हैं, how to increase marks? Bio में it is the simplest answer. Read the NCERT. Online, no, if you ever try to do an online search, there are very good MCQ sources, which are completely NCERT based. Also, NEET prep. I had the NEET prep question bank as well as other MCQ books. NEET prep question bank mein, if you solve the easy level questions, they are NCERT based. Then there are PDFs of books available, which have completely NCERT based questions. See, 290 के आसपास marks आ रहे, that means you can still continue reading the NCERT to increase, right? So, two things: focus on diagrams, understand कि बायो में एग्जैक्टली कौन से टॉपिक्स हैं जो अभी नहीं आते. इफ इट इज समथिंग लाइक एनाटॉमी इन फ्लावरिंग प्लांट्स और मॉर्फोलॉजी ऑफ फ्लावरिंग प्लांट्स, तो वैसे बहुत हेवीली फैक्चुअल टाइप, देन यू कैन ट्राई मेकिंग शॉर्ट नोट्स, राइट? यू कैन टेक लाइक 2 days कि मुझे इस चैप्टर के सारे नोट्स बनाने हैं, से सारे तो नहीं, लाइक शॉर्ट नोट्स बनाने हैं, बिकॉज लिख लिख के बहुत अच्छा याद होता है. मैंने मॉर्फोलॉजी एंड एनाटॉमी के शॉर्ट नोट्स बनाए थे 11th के शुरू में, एंड that really helped आगे जाके, right? So NCERT and NCERT diagrams. Within the NCERT, find which topics you want to work on first, make short notes and revise them again and again. And you can also refer to an NCERT based MCQ source for practice. Right, around 330 340 तक तो ऐसे इंक्रीज हो ही जाएंगे if you read the NCERT properly. उसके beyond, you know, sometimes tests में people include questions from outside the NCERT. Now that is a hit and a miss. Sometimes ऐसे होता है कि जो बाकी, there are 4 options, right? You can eliminate 3 on the basis of the NCERT and the 4th will be the right answer. तो उस केस में you have to be very familiar कि एनसीईआरटी में क्या क्या लिखा है कि तुम बाकी तीनों को एलिमिनेट कर पाओ, या फिर तुम्हें डायरेक्टली पता होगा कि तुमने किसी मॉड्यूल में पढ़ा हो या कोचिंग में पढ़ा हो. इन एनी केस, टिल 330 340 रीड द एनसीईआरटी, एंड आई थिंक 340 इन बायो इज अ गुड टारगेट. तो उसके बाद के जो है, जो थोड़े बहुत आउट ऑफ एनसीईआरटी हो सकते हैं, उनके लेवल से डोंट फ्रेट टू मच, फोकस ऑन एनसीईआरटी में क्या क्या कंटेंट है पहले, एंड एट दिस टाइम वेरी स्पेसिफिकली. So Nitika is asking, I have just given my boards of 10th and starting to prepare for NEET. What are the things I should take care of to crack NEET successfully? ठीक है, तो my story is pretty straightforward. 11th and 12th, there was a huge difference. And 12th, I realized a lot of things. So I'll tell you right now, you can implement the same stuff from the very beginning. So one thing, read theory साइमल्टेनियसली विद योर क्लासेस. ठीक है, क्लास में जो पढ़ा रहे हैं उसको उसी दिन, यू नो, विद इन 2-3 days उसको अपनी तरफ से भी कवर कर लो. MCQs रेगुलरली सॉल्व करो. फॉर एवरी टॉपिक यू शुड सॉल्व एटलीस्ट 100 to 200 MCQs फॉर प्रैक्टिस, एंड यू शुड सॉल्व योर डाउट्स. अगर किसी क्वेश्चन में प्रॉब्लम आ रही है तो गेट योर डाउट सॉल्व. अगर किसी टॉपिक थ्योरी में कोई ब्रॉड प्रॉब्लम आ रही है तो गेट योर डाउट सॉल्व. थर्ड, attempt tests regularly. ठीक है, I have a detailed video on that, but I'll tell you brief में. 11th में you should solve 1 full syllabus test every month and a short test, like a fortnightly test, 360 marks वाला test every 2 weeks कम से कम, ताकि you know revision होती रहे and you keep revising. And fourth is formula sheets अपनी बना लेना. 11th में शुरू में, लेकिन if you read a chapter, make your formula sheets and keep adding to it. Okay, it will help you a lot later. Matlab, don't miss tests and make your rapid revision materials and study along with the lectures. Right, so these are the 4 broad advices I will give to you at this moment. Okay, if you follow this properly, you'll be in a very good position at the end of class 11. And 12th में you just have to amplify things, तब देखेंगे. But 11th में तो ये broad 4 चीजें जरूर करना. ठीक है, I'm telling you from experience. Anybody on the webinar has any questions? Siddharth and Ashish?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
So no new questions are coming on YouTube as well. I think we can conclude the webinar now.
All right. Okay. So it was a pleasure taking this webinar, and I hope that you learned something that you can implement in your preparation. कोई questions हो किसी के पास, please post them comment section में. I will check and I will get back to you. ठीक है? All the best everyone and thank you for
Thank
attending.
you.